Hey there, athletes. Coach John Ferry here from Team Wilpers. Excited as always to welcome you to our Week 6 athlete briefing for the Fall in Love with Running Challenge. We're going to start the little Week 5 review. So we started the week with our first interval run here, or not our first interval run, but we started with an interval run. So we started with those VO2 max intervals, followed by half marathon pace intervals, followed by finishing again on another round of VO2 max intervals. So the goal here was to use those VO2 max intervals to really get opened up and ready to perform for those middle sets. Then we dropped the pace, really, which hopefully made those half marathon pace intervals feel really cruisy and comfortable, only to kick it back into gear, finish the workout with another round of VO2 max intervals. What we're really trying to do there is really focus on running kind of a couple hard, short sets on legs that are starting to fatigue, trying to mimic that for the end of a distance test, the end of a race. We're trying to really push it on legs that are a little bit less than fresh. So hopefully you felt that there. Run number 2 is our progression run here in week 5. We're really trying to do two main things here. We're trying to work the bottom and the top end of zone 2, really finding and feeling what both ends of those feel like, because it's really important. And then similarly, the bottom and top end of zone 3. And really, if this workout was done, the way I wrote it up, and I sure hoped it felt, was that you really only get to that tough part of the workout for the final couple minutes of the main set before you go into the cool down. So it really wasn't meant to be a bruiser, just a really nice kind of endurance pace, kind of topping out a zone 3 run there. And as always, our long run, our easy breezy, beautiful, most favorite run of the week for sure. A little bit of housekeeping here. As always, we're coming into the final week of this thing, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't go in, continue to chase a 100% completion percentage, or as close as humanly possible, you want to finish with that maximum completion percentage. So as we're coming through the week, make sure to continue checking those boxes. As we get to the end of the week, make sure that you don't let Sunday slip by and get into Monday, because they will disappear next week. So get in there, make sure you're checking the boxes, chasing that high completion percentage. You want to make sure we're always doing that week, challenge after challenge after challenge. Speaking of challenge after challenge after challenge, sign-ups are now open for our holiday run challenge. So this kicks off the week of Thanksgiving and runs through the week of New Year's Day. This is really an accountability challenge. This is such a challenging time of year, pun intended, for people to stay active, engaged, and consistent with their training. This challenge was really created out of something Matt and I saw many years ago, which was we would work with athletes consistently straight through the fall, come off a great base of fitness. They would disappear for the winter. We saw them again in the spring, and it had dissipated. We were starting from the same spot over and over again. So we don't want that to happen. We don't want to give in to the everyone else's busyness. Let that dictate the way that we're working out as we come through the holiday months. So there's a great opportunity. Find a workout buddy, friend, family member, etc. that you want to stay consistent with you during this difficult and challenging schedule time of the year, and get in, be consistent with our holiday challenge. Definitely check that out. Open for both holiday run and holiday run plus strength. Now, our week 6 workouts here. So we're coming back in to start the week with another interval run. So this is a throwback to week 1 of this challenge. So starts with short VO2 max bursts, finishes with just a little steady state endurance. So similar to the week 5 workout, we're really using those VO2 max bursts to actually get the body prepared for the little steady state section there. So while our VO2 max intervals are the first things we come into, and we're pushing a little bit of speed on those intervals for sure, it's really an endurance themed workout where we're trying to settle into that endurance race pace. So just so you know. There are a couple of reasons that I like to really, which would be a common theme throughout our challenge structure, is pull back a workout from week 1 into the top of the final week of our either week 6 or week 8. The first is that usually it's a little bit easier workout than what we've been coming up to. So I like to include a little bit of pop in the final week coming into, a distance test or a race. And so it's certainly an easier work, includes some intensity, but not as much as we've accumulated over the last 5 weeks. The other thing is, we talk obviously about comparing workouts to workouts and test to test and races to races. And we use the distance test sometimes to see if we've improved and how much we've improved over the scope of a challenge. But something you can also do is compare similar type workouts or identical type workouts. So right here at the top of the week, this is a real world opportunity for you to take a look of how you're feeling doing the same workout now that you did 6 weeks ago. And hopefully this second pass through after a good block of training, the workout feels even better now than it did before, even coming off of week 5. So especially if you're not interested or planning to do the distance test at the end, there's a great opportunity just to compare your effort level over similar workouts. Just FYI, coaches use workouts like this all the time in season for athletes. So we don't always need to find a race, and sometimes it's not possible to find a race. Or we don't want to do a time trial on an athlete in the middle of a training block because it's going to be too hard and take too long to recover from. So what we'll use is, I'll call them benchmark workouts that I know an athlete has done 2, 3, 4, 5 times in the past. I can take training data now, I can compare it to similar times in the past, maybe even leading into key races in the past, and see how that athlete stacks up versus the different times. So that's just one of the reasons that we kind of pull these workouts back in, get one more crack here, week 1 to week 6. Key run number 2, our little micro intervals here. So these are short bursts of speeds with pretty lengthy recoveries. And the goal here is really to stay fresh in advance of your distance test. I don't want the workload to drop off to 0. I don't want it to come all the way down to easy pace here. We don't want to lose this week of training. But this is certainly not the time either to have your biggest, toughest workout. So while we're getting to some speedy paces here, the recovery times are plentiful. So it's really just a little bit of a boost with a very calm recovery to follow. So take advantage of those recovery times. This is certainly not one to skimp on that recovery time, stay too fast on that recovery time, make this a really tough workout. What we're really trying to do is dial it back down, get you tuned up, but rested for the weekend. Speaking of the weekend, so a lot of people have a tough time sometimes finding their race pace early. You find it in races of every distance. It being New York City Marathon weekend, we've talked a lot to our athletes about starting conservative, starting thoughtful, not going out too fast, etc. The same thing applies for a 5K, a 20-minute test, a one mile. Can't start too fast. It's still an endurance race. You have to take it easy. So a lot of people have a hard time finding that pace. So we've got the 20-minute distance test coming up at the end of the week. This micro interval workout, great opportunity to use those short intervals to test finding that pace quickly. 1 minute is a large percent of that 20 minutes. So you don't want to take too long to find your pace. These short intervals provide a really good opportunity to try to find that pace, kind of test it, see what it feels like, and wind it back down. So even though this workout is written as a VO2 max workout, it wouldn't be a bad opportunity to use this workout to test finding that pace you plan to use for your 20-minute distance test. Finally, key run number 3. So we've got the option here for the 20-minute distance test or another just easy run to finish out this challenge. And the goal here is simple. It's really to be better than we were in week 1. So the test is really just an opportunity for you to measure your progress. And if that is something that excites you, then go rip it and let's see if we can be a little bit better than week 1. And if that is something that you're terrified by, not into, not feeling at this particular moment, then take yourself for a nice, easy run. Go enjoy it. It's your workout, your training, and maybe we'll do it at the top of the holiday challenge or the end of holiday challenge and see how you're doing there. But once again, the goal is really just to be a little bit better than week 1. We want to keep moving that needle forward a bit at a time. So I meant to say earlier, I meant to give a big good luck to our New York City marathoners and 5Kers racing tomorrow, marathoners on Sunday. Team Whoopers will be out on 5th Avenue in between 109 and 110. So if you're in the greater New York City area, we would love for you to join us, cheer on these runners that have worked so hard to get here right now. Got an amazing shakeout in the city earlier today, so it was so great to meet so many of you that have come through the challenge system. Always warms our heart and keeps us coming back for more. But with that, we'll send everyone off to have a wonderful remainder of our fall challenge here. Thank you so much for participating, and we sure hope to see you at the top of the holiday challenge here in just a couple weeks. Have a great one.